Hi there, I'm Tobey Nelson with Venture Out Nursery, coming to you from my garden on Whidbey Island, and today we're going to talk about dividing herbaceous perennials. So, most of the time, you can divide an herbaceous perennial that has gotten either too large for the space in your garden, or maybe you want more of the one plant that you have, and so you want to divide it for propagation. Or some perennials will get hollow in the center when they die. This is common with things like ornamental grasses and some of the heleniums and irises, things like that. So you would divide to get rid of that dead center portion. Today we're looking at my Astrantia, and it's just simply big, and I would like to have a little bit less of it here. So we're going to talk about dividing it. There's two ways that you can do this. You can divide it in the ground, or you can dig the whole clump and divide it out of the ground. I favor dividing in the ground because you're not trying to balance on top of a plant chunk. It takes a little force to divide these guys sometimes, and so I like a nice, sharp, deep shovel, something that's sturdy that you can put a lot of foot pressure on. So it's okay to divide this now. She's dormant, she's just starting to wake up. If you were working with an ornamental grass, you would want to wait until you see signs of green coming up. Grasses would rather be divided when they are growing than when they are dormant. And some perennials, particularly peonies, are something that you really don't want to do division on. They can take a long time to recover. So with that said, let's get started. I'm just going to put my shovel right here in the center of the plant, and then I'm going to jump real hard on it, divide all the way across, and then the section that I'm not going to leave in the ground, I'll dig up and pull out. Here we go. All right, so here is half of my plant. I can leave the remaining half in the ground and simply backfill with a nice soil. I could transplant a whole big chunk, or you could divide it into smaller pieces. Really, if you think about a 4-inch pot, you can divide it into little bits or anything in between. But if you see how hard I had to jump on this, when you've got a piece of plant out of the ground and you're trying to struggle up on top, it can be tricky to make that division. Another thing you can do is get a sacrificial saw, not the one that you use for pruning, because the dirt will dull the blade, and also there can be bacterial organisms and things like that in the soil that you don't want to get on your saw. But you can use a saw to cut through the sections of plants. That can be super helpful on things that are really dense, like this Astrantia, and then also ornamental grasses are great for an old saw. So those are some tips on dividing perennials. You can also lay them down like that. Sometimes you can get a little more purchase and go in that way, but it's worth it. It's good work. Thanks so much and happy gardening.